leapfrog, Honorable ICT State Minister. We are also expecting our Honorable Finance Minister, Mr. Mohit, who will be joining us very shortly. But at the moment, we have these panels, and I know there are a lot of stakeholders and participants from the ICT sector and other sectors. Before I really start the panel, and invite our advisor on ICT to give the keynote presentation, let me give you the few lines or few words on the perspective of the ICT movement that we are making in Bangladesh. As you know, Bangladesh, started moving in the direction of a digitized nation, particularly through an election manifesto of 2008, when they gave this Bangladesh a vision, the digital vision, I would call it, that we would build up a digital Bangladesh. And this has been appropriately, coined by our Honorable Prime Minister as Digital Bangladesh. And we all are trying from different quarters to really align ourselves into that vision of Digital Bangladesh. And Mr. Wazid Joy, our ICT advisor to the Honorable Prime Minister, as I told you initially, has been a driving force in that vision. And he has been relentlessly working with all of us to take the Bangladesh into a digital Bangladesh. This has been well reflected in our perspective plans, which we have given in 2010 to 2021. That vision for 2021 has been adequately reflected in our perspective plan. And in that plan itself, it gives a lot of support to the digital Bangladesh by creating an enabling environment for trade, business, and investment. And this vision, will be already being implemented by emphasizing on ICT. In addition, we are emphasizing a lot on knowledge economy. And also, that knowledge economy really presupposes human ingenuity, ideas, skill, and there ICT will play a very, very crucial role. And it has been playing a crucial role. And this emphasis on ICT really is providing a committed and accountable government. We therefore dream of a digital Bangladesh where citizens get all public services through information. We are also, so far I know, our ministers from our neighboring nations, they are also coming together. We want to have a South-South cooperation and work with a neighbor in terms of improving our connectivity, ICT connectivity with Bhutan, Nepal, and other neighboring countries, and we are working together on that. Just to let you know, the Bangladesh has been moving pretty fast in terms of developing IT infrastructure, both at the government level and at the organizational level. We already have, e-services, IT-enabled services in agriculture, in education, employment, transport, and government is working hard to provide these services, and it's a leapfrog jump we see everywhere. It's improving. But what is more important is that we have a public-private partnership everywhere in terms of ICT, and we are providing regulatory kind of framework as we can. The central bank itself has been providing a lot of regulatory services for making this happen, actually, for access to finance so that they can get the services everywhere. We already have digitized our central bank. We have now automatic clearing house. We have online credit information bureau online. We have national payment switch already there. Your real-time gross settlement is coming in a few months' time. So everything is moving in that direction. And we have given regulatory, I would say, support to basis and other organizations so that we have a easy export of our e-services, and also they have been given support so that they can have the licenses, they can have all the support in terms of importing some e-services needed for the. We have given regulatory support for developing our freelancers. They are coming in numbers. Already we have 250,000 freelancers now working, and we are providing services through the bank for e-payment, and all that is coming pretty fast. And in one of their presentations, which we will be seeing from our ICT advisor, he really dreams of at least 1% of the GDP coming from these e-services. And for that matter, we need to prepare ourselves, and all the segments of the government and also our regulatory organizations are working in favor to support this kind of e-enabled services in Bangladesh. Bangladesh has a great future, I tell you. Bangladesh already has been performing pretty well. For the information of our ministers from our neighbors, Bangladesh is the least volatile country in terms of its growth, inflation, in foreign exchange rate. We are one of the most stable countries in South Asia. So this has been possible because of the prudent macroeconomic policies taken by the government and the central bank. And in an environment like that, it has become easier for us to really push this digital vision, which our Prime Minister and our advisor are really pushing. With these few words, I will really invite Mr. Sajiboz's Joy to, in fact, give a presentation before that, but I will also invite our Honorable State Minister for IT, Mr. Junaid Ahmed Pollock, to really give a welcome speech. Thank you. We have our Honorable Finance Minister, and he's joining the panel.
Thank you, Honorable Governor of Bangladesh Bank, Honorable Ministers from Bangladesh, Bhutan, Maldives, Nepal, Honorable ICT Affairs Advisor to the Prime Minister of Bangladesh, and the keynote speaker of this ministerial conference, Mr. Sajib Wajed, Secretary General of the International Telecommunication Union, Mr. Haolin Zhao, Excellencies, Head of the Diplomatic Missions in Dhaka, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, a very good morning to everyone. It is my special privilege and honor to welcome you all to this ministerial conference on digital economy, opportunities and challenges. I would like to express my sincere thanks and gratitude to all of you for attending this conference. Ladies and gentlemen, Bangladesh secured its independence in 1971 after a prolonged struggle under the charismatic leadership of Bangabandhu Sheikh Mujibur Rahman. In this auspicious occasion, I would like to commemorate our father of the nation, Bangabandhu Sheikh Mujibur Rahman, and 3 million martyred freedom fighters who made supreme sacrifice for our liberation, and language martyrs who sacrificed their lives to protect the right to speak our mother tongue. Distinguished guests, Bangladesh is a land of unlimited opportunities. In a recent report published by Forbes magazine, it has been mentioned that Bangladesh is the capitalist heaven. JP Morgan included Bangladesh in the frontier 5 countries' economies, whereas Goldman Sachs assessed Bangladesh as the next 11 economies after BRICS. For the last 5 years, our GDP growth has been above 6% per annum. We are the second largest ready-made garments exporter in the world. We have got the second highest foreign currency reserve in South Asia, only after India. Dear friends, We are the 8th largest population in the world. Please have a look at our demographic dividend composition. It is clearly evident from the picture that Bangladesh is currently experiencing demographic dividend that will exist till 2040. Keeping an eye to the prevailing demographic dividend, our Honorable Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina declared her vision to turn Bangladesh into a middle-income country by 2021 and a developed country by 2041 through implementing the Digital Bangladesh Agenda. Ladies and gentlemen, having only demographic dividend is not enough. We have to impart appropriate skill set among the youth and create an enabling environment. We have 115 universities. All these universities offer computer science and IT related courses. More than 10,000 IT graduates are passing every year from these universities. Further, we are implementing a number of programs to provide top-up training to 10,000 IT graduates, foundation training to 20,000 graduates, outsourcing training to 55,000 youth people and 12,000 women. I'm pleased to inform you that world-famous Carnegie Mellon University and Ernst & Young have been engaged in these training programs. Dear participants, connectivity infrastructure is a very crucial input for any digital economy. This is why we are giving the highest priority to infrastructure development. Currently, we are connected with the global information superhighway by submarine cable with a bandwidth capacity of 200 Gbps. By 2016, we will be connected through another consortium with a bandwidth capacity of 1400 Gbps. Besides, we are connected through 6 international terrestrial cables to ensure redundancy and competition. 3G mobile service is available in all 64 districts of Bangladesh. Let us have a look at the public service delivery landscape. We have introduced e-tendering system to promote accountability, transparency, and efficiency in the public procurement process. Other e-services include online taxpayers, registration, e-land management, e-ticketing, utility bill payment, etc., to ensure hassle-free and real-time public delivery system. Distinguished panelists, a phenomenal change taking place in our financial landscape. We have included 25 million unbanked rural people in the mainstream financial service network by introducing mobile banking system. Iconic inventor and co-founder of Microsoft Corporation, Mr. Bill Gates, in his recent interview with Wall Street Journal mentioned, Bangladesh is widely adopting technology and has been a shining example of using ICT in providing financial services. To exploit the opportunities offered by the digital economy, we need to have robust ICT industry. For this purpose, we are building a dozen of high-tech parks and software parks in different strategically favorable locations. We are providing 12 special incentives to investors in these parks, including 100% tax exemption facility. Ladies and gentlemen, we have more than 700,000 internet-based professionals who earn their livelihoods with the blessing of internet. In terms of Odesk and Elance registration, Bangladesh secured 3rd position in freelancing. Considering the excellent opportunities available in Bangladesh, Samsung established an R&D center and Accenture set up a BPO center in Dhaka. World-famous management consultancy firm, A.T. Kearney Global, included Bangladesh in the Global Service Location Index for the first time in 2014. In the first inclusion, Bangladesh secured 26th position, while in terms of financial attractiveness, Bangladesh has been the most attractive country in the world. Let me share a few key statistics. We have more than 120 million mobile phone subscribers. Thus, our mobile phone penetration rate is 80%, which is the highest penetration rate in South Asia. Our mobile phone density has been phenomenal. Now we want to replicate this success story for increasing our internet penetration. By 2021, we want to achieve 100% internet penetration with 50% broadband access. Distinguished guests, the opportunities of a digital economy are beckoning. On the other hand, it poses certain challenges as well. We have laid necessary foundation to harness the opportunities of the digital economy. We all should collaborate to address the underlying challenges. All these relevant issues of digital economy will be covered by the keynote speaker and subsequent speakers. Once again, I would like to give my heartiest thanks to everyone for joining this session. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Pollock. Very good welcome speech with a lot of information and perspectives on our campaign for digital Bangladesh. I will now request Mr. Sajib Wajid Joy. Before that, I will welcome Sajib Wajid Joy, the Honorable ICT Affairs Advisor to Prime Minister of Bangladesh, to keep the keynote address.
Thank you, Governor, for the kind introduction. I would like to welcome Your Excellencies, the Honorable Ministers of Maldives, Bhutan, Nepal, and of course Bangladesh, as well as His Excellency, the ITU Secretary General, for coming here this year for our annual Digital World event that we started last year and we hope to continue for the foreseeable future every year here in Dhaka. You've heard a little introduction of the progress that we have made. I would like to go a little bit more in detail. In 1971, after Bangladesh gained independence, Henry Kissinger made a comment about this country. He called it a bottomless basket. Well, today, Bangladesh is definitely not a bottomless basket. Today, it has become a digital Bangladesh. However, none of this existed 6 years ago. The Digital Bangladesh plan was part of our government, the Awami League, Bangladesh Awami League Party's election manifesto in 2008. We made it a promise that we would bring about this transformation. Prior to the election of our government in December 2008, digitization did not exist anywhere in Bangladesh. Mobile penetration was about half of what it is now. Internet penetration was insignificant, barely less than 1%. No government services were digitized, and there was hardly any network available, broadband network. There was no broadband network available outside of a couple of major cities. We only had one submarine cable, one lone submarine cable linking us to the internet and the rest of the world. And any time that submarine cable would break or be disrupted, the entire country would be cut off from the internet. Besides that, our government has been committed to developing Bangladesh, taking it forward, developing the economy, lifting up the lives of the people. And towards that end, I'd like to share some statistics here. So if you look at the data, in 2008, our poverty level in Bangladesh was 40%. By 2014, which is just 6 years, we brought it down to 26%. And that is in a country with a population of 160 million people. That means in 6 years, we lifted up almost 30 million people from poverty, just in 6 years. Our literacy rate was 49%. It has increased again to 65% in just 6 years. Our electricity grid, only 27% of the country, of the population, had access to the electricity grid itself. Today, 62% of the population has access to the electricity grid, and this is continuing to grow. We hope to take it to 100% within the next 4 or 5 years. Wireless, we only had 2G cellular service available throughout the country. In the last 6 years, we first issued WiMAX licenses and WiMAX service started. Then we issued 3G licenses, 3G services started, and now 3G service is available throughout Bangladesh. 4G is coming. We issued 1 license end of last year, and we plan to have an auction for the remaining spectrum next year. And we hope that within the next 4 years, that 4G service will be available throughout Bangladesh. Internet usage in 2008, there's the statistic. It was 0.4%, 0.4% of the population used the internet in 2008. Today, it's 27% in just 6 years. Mobile users, 20 million. Today, 120. That's really subscribers, the number of SIMs in use, as many users have multiple SIMs, but still. Social media, insignificant social media usage. Today, 8 million plus social media users in Bangladesh. 1 new Facebook user every 20 seconds from Bangladesh. I believe Bangladesh is Facebook's fastest growing country. E-services, realistically at the time there were no e-services other than a few from the private sector in 2008. No government e-services existed in 2008. Today, 100 plus in major development sectors. Approximately 75% of all government services have been digitized to some extent. Access points for people to actually access the internet publicly, only less than 10 places throughout the country that you could use. Essentially cyber cafes where you could go access computers and the internet. Less than 10 throughout the entire country. Today there are 5,200 plus. 5,200 of them built by the government of Bangladesh. ICT policy, 2008, we really did not have much of an ICT policy and it wasn't implemented. We did not have a separate ministry or even division for ICT in 2008. It was all created during our last term in this past 6 years. And now we started with the ICT policy of 2009. And now we have robust ICT policies across the ministry, across different ministries, education, health, local government, PPP, throughout. For these achievements, not just for the achievements itself, but for the rapid pace of innovation and achievements that the government of Bangladesh has brought about, we have won award after another. We've won the MDG Award in 2010, MDG eHealth Award 2011, Poverty Reduction Award in 2013. You've heard about the WSIS Award, the Global ICT Excellence Award, and the South-South Cooperation Visionary Award, which we have all received within the last couple of years for the rapid progress that Bangladesh has made, which has been unprecedented. There are very few countries in the world that have been able to reduce poverty, increase education this rapidly in their history at any time. One of the goals, one of the primary goals of Digital Bangladesh that we set about was that there should not be a digital divide, that the digitization should not just benefit those that are well-to-do or upper middle class and educated and have access. We wanted to include the entire population, even the rural population that is illiterate, that does not have direct access to the internet. To that end, our government services digitization focused on a bottom-up and inclusive approach. Birth and death registrations, they were non-existent at one point. They were not enforced at all, and they certainly weren't digitized. We've digitized those. Land records have been digitized. Land records are the source of the vast majority of court cases in Bangladesh, but with digitization, a lot of that will go away. Examination results. This is a big deal because people in the rural areas have to travel to the nearest town to take the exams, and they have to travel back to get the results. Today, they get the results online. It's sent out on mobile phones through SMSs, text messaging, and it's available online immediately. Government forms can be downloaded online. The biggest advantage, again, was that in the past, 6 years ago, when a citizen in a village or a small town needed to access government services, he had to travel to the nearest town, go to the nearest government office, wherever that may be, and then stand in line for a couple of hours just to pick up a form. Then he would have to have someone else, because most of them would be illiterate. He would have to take it back, have someone else help him fill it out, gather the necessary paperwork, come back, stand in line again. Today, he can go to any digital center throughout the country. These 5,200 digital centers that the government has built in every union of throughout the country. We have 4,500 unions, which are our smallest local government unit. He can go to his nearest digital center and download any form online right away and then submit it online right there. He does not have to travel far at all. Digital photography, computer training, mobile banking. Again, this is becoming a big life changer for the majority of people, because especially the people in the rural areas, they don't have a bank branch near them. They are now able to transact money and even receive government subsidies, stipends, checks through their mobile phones. And then, of course, you have insurance, health training, health consultations. This has been one of the key differentiators. Our health ministry was actually one of the first ministries to really go ahead with the adoption of IT technology. And one of the big changes they made was that we built over 14,000 community healthcare clinics throughout the country, but we don't have enough doctors to man them all. So they have to consult with doctors in the nearest town. Well, how do you do that from a remote community healthcare clinic? There's a healthcare worker there, but he or she is not a trained doctor. So we sent them all a laptop and a webcam. And using off-the-shelf software, Skype, they can consult with the patient and a doctor in a town to diagnose the patient live online. And this has made a tremendous difference. As I mentioned, 5,300 digital centers. Again, all of them built by the Access to Information program under the Prime Minister's office. The first 4,501, which are the target was one in every union. We have 4,501 unions. The plan was to build them in 3 years. The work started in 2009. It was completed 2 years ahead of schedule. They were all completed in 2010. These digital centers now service 4.5 million citizens every month. 4.5 million citizens receive service at these digital centers every month. As I mentioned, government services have been simplified, where previously, because all government services were paper-based, the time for processing for a land record application, birth registration, could take weeks, literally weeks. Now they're done in 2 to 5 days. Someone fills out the form online, it goes online to the central office, they process it, send the results back. 2 days later, 3 days later, the villager has whatever he needs. Decision making has become simplified. They no longer have to search for a file that's hiding somewhere. All data is available online. Government service officers can look up online. Toward that end, just a few days ago, the ICT ministry, we distributed 25,000 tablets to all government officers throughout the country. All 18,000 government offices received these tablets so that they can provide services to citizens no matter where they are. And the direct cost to the citizen has been reduced because the villagers no longer have to travel. The travel expense was a major expense because to a villager, that the bus ticket to the nearest town, especially if he has to go back 2 or 3 times, it was a major expense. He no longer has to spend that money. There are entrepreneurs who run our digital centers. They pay them a small fee. It's still a fraction of what he would have spent on the bus travel and the transportation and food and lodging. And it has reduced their cost by 50%, which totals 450 crores. Crores are, what is that, billion, 10 billion. So that's 4.5 billion taka is saved by the citizens of Bangladesh. And it also saves 65 crores for the government of Bangladesh. For these government services, for the access for citizens, our government built the largest web portal, the largest government web portal in the world. It has 25,000 portals in it, all under one address, and I believe 31 million web pages. And these were all developed through crowdsourcing by government officers. We trained government officers and we provided them tools to rapidly build web pages and some models. And 50,000 government officers and these digital center entrepreneurs built the 25,000 government web portals that we have, 31 million web pages. We also have a program where teachers can develop content and collaborate online. Again, the model is we provide them tools. These are simple software tools that we can train them quickly on how to develop content using these tools. And it allows them to collaborate. And there are 50,000 teachers throughout the country collaborating with online, sharing content that they have developed for teaching for specific subjects throughout the country. Some more statistics, I don't know if you can read them. To date, since these digital centers opened, 115 million transactions, citizen transactions have taken place through these digital centers. These digital center entrepreneurs who man these have earned 1.38 billion taka in their service fees. That's the amount of money they have made in providing these services to citizens. In talking to some of these entrepreneurs, and this is, you know, even in the small unions near every village in Bangladesh, even in some of the smaller unions, these village youths, the digital entrepreneurs are village youths that we have trained to run these centers and operate the government software, the web portals and services that are provided. And I've had many sessions with them, and they've all told me that sitting in these unions, wherever they are, in most of them, they are earning individually 40, 50, 60, 70,000 taka per month. That's $1,000 per month that a village youth is earning sitting in his village, in every union throughout the country. It's been a life changer for them. In order to help the growth of these services as well as the software and IT industry, our government has launched a service innovation fund. It was launched by the Honorable Finance Minister, who is present today. Now, one of the targets of Digital Bangladesh as well was that we would start, and one of the ways we were able to achieve this rapid growth was what I called, let's start with version 1, or in tech terms, version 1.0, which is we didn't want to try to make this comprehensive plan for all government services, hire foreign consultants, and try to build this massive pieces of software using large software companies to build these massive softwares, which would take years to build, would be very complicated, and we would have to wait 4, 5, 6 years for the result. We said, no, let's start these from the on a small scale, every ministry, every division, whatever services they need, let's develop those modules, and they can be developed by anyone, whether it's a small IT company in Bangladesh or a foreign company. And so the vast majority of our initial government services, the digitization was actually provided by local Bangladeshi companies and bases, our software association. So in order to help them, we wanted one of their big complaints of these small startup companies was that were trying to develop these service softwares and portals for the government, was that they did not have finance. So in order to help them, we provided this fund. So 1,200 proposals, since 2013, 1,200 proposals were evaluated in 3 rounds, 35 awards were given, 50% were private sector, 50% were government services. Some of these are digital talking textbooks for visually disabled children, agriculture extension, crop disease diagnostics. This is really neat. So a villager, a farmer in a remote village, if he has a problem with his crop, all he has to do is take a picture through his mobile phone and text that picture to an address where then it's analyzed by agro experts in the government agencies, and they can diagnose and text him back a remedy, what fertilizer he should use, whether it's a disease, what chemicals he should use. He gets that within a matter of days, if not hours. Low-cost medical diagnostics, 3D printing for artificial limbs, that's happening in Bangladesh. Land records are being digitized, e-learning platforms. So we have migrant workers that travel throughout the country, and as well as internationally, we have a huge migrant population. And we are providing them necessary skills training online to enhance their earning potential when they go abroad, as well as the migrants within the country. Our part of Digital Bangladesh has been to connect all government offices throughout the country. We have 18,000 direct government offices throughout the country, plus other attached agencies. The total is something like 23,000, 25,000 offices. In the past 6 years, we've taken 3 different projects to slowly connect them using direct fiber optic cable, true broadband. So the first phase was connecting all the ministries, directorates, and district level offices. That was under a project called Bangla GovNet. That was completed. The second phase, which is ongoing, connects all offices down to the Upazila level. Upazila is just above, above the union. That is the second largest, second smallest rather, government division that we have. So all government offices at that level are being connected at this moment with fiber optic cables. And the next plan, the next project is to take a fiber optic cable all the way down to the union level. So every government office in every union and these digital centers will have a direct fiber optic connection to the internet and the network, true broadband. And eventually the plan is to connect schools, clinics, markets in the villages. We've been moving at a breakneck pace. 6 years ago, I believe the there was very little private fiber optic cable laid throughout Bangladesh. There was some government. I think the totals were just a few thousand kilometers. Today, I believe we've crossed 50, 60, maybe 70,000 kilometers of fiber optic cable throughout Bangladesh already have been laid, both by the government and the private sector. We are building not one, a total of 12 high-tech parks that we have planned. The big one is going to be in Kalyakor, which is just outside of Dhaka. It's going to be essentially, the vision is, the hope is to build a modern high-tech township. That is the plan, just outside on the outskirts of Dhaka. There will even be a commuter rail that runs between Dhaka and Kalyakor. But we don't want to be stuck in Dhaka. We want the IT industry to spread out throughout the country. So we have identified 12 locations throughout Bangladesh in just about each and every district, almost each and every district, Sylhet, Rangpur. We're going to build 12 high-tech parks throughout the country. And in the Dhaka, Kalyakor, the plan is to build a special economic zone for the IT industry, special export zone. Similar to what we have with the garments industry, we have the export processing zones, where the companies that locate there produce goods for the export market, they get certain tax and other regulatory benefits. We will have the same for the IT industry, for those who export. Here's the makeup of our IT industry right now. 44% is software, 56% is IT-enabled services. We have approximately 1,000 IT companies operating in Bangladesh. Revenues here, both official and unofficial figures, because we have a huge inflow from freelancers, which come in through various indirect channels. Total estimate is about $400 million per year right now. We have 250,000 plus professionals employed in the IT industry. This includes these freelancers. We are, Bangladesh is now number 3 when it comes to freelancing in the world. You've heard about our demographic dividend. We have 65% of our population is under the age of 25. We are one of the youngest, if not the youngest countries in the world. It's an IT hungry nation. Freelancing is on the rapid rise again in the entire world. In the number of freelancers employed online, Bangladesh is number 3. In terms of abilities and why the IT industry is able to grow so rapidly, is that we have 12 years of compulsory English in our education system. Everyone speaks English to some degree, and our accent is relatively neutral. IT now is a mandatory subject from grade 6 onward. This was a curriculum built by our government, and so we have made it mandatory. We have now 10,000 IT graduates every year from our universities and colleges. And of course, our government itself is in the process of training 100,000 IT professionals in various skills. We've already trained in the last year 18,000. This year we plan to train another 55,000 and then ongoing. These are skills that are in mobile app development, game development, web development, any number of skills. The government is providing direct training. We have a very friendly tax regime, again, thanks to our Honorable Finance Minister. He keeps giving us the IT industry tax holiday, but here I would like to request him that our tax holiday expires this year. In last time he extended it for 3 years. I would like to request him 5 years. I would like to request him here today that he extend it not for 5 years, but for 10 years so that the IT industry can grow. In terms of investment, 100% of foreign investment is repatriable. So foreign companies that bring investment here and profit here, you can take back 100% of your profits, 100% of your investment. And because of those benefits, several big name companies have already come to Bangladesh. Samsung built an R&D center and is operating that, and from what I hear from Samsung execs, that their R&D center in Bangladesh performs better than their R&D centers in India. AMD has a design center here. Accenture has recently started operations. They've purchased a local IT company, and they already have a 600-man outfit operating in Bangladesh. Our IT industry has earned many global recognitions. You can see some of them: A.T. Kearney's, Gartner, Elan Zodesk, Coface, Goldman Sachs, and J.P. Morgan's. Our software association, BASIS, has a vision. They call it their One Bangladesh vision, which are a set of goals and targets for the industry. And those targets are earnings of $1 billion a year. And as you can see, we've already made rapid progress towards that. I forgot to mention, while today the exports are 400 million per year, 6 years ago, In 2008, 2009, our annual IT exports were just $25 million. That's it. So we've gone from $25 million to $400 million in 5 years. And their target of $1 billion, I'm sure they'll achieve it. Their goal is to create 1 million IT professionals in Bangladesh, increase internet users to 1 crore, which is 10 million, increase 10 million internet users every year, which again, they're getting there. And our BASIS's goal, my personal goal, that IT should contribute 1% additional growth to our GDP every year. That is our goal. Growth of e-commerce, just to give you some example of the private sector development that has taken place in the IT industry. The number of e-commerce sites in 2011 was insignificant. 2011 still under, looks like it was barely around 50. In 2013, it touched about 100. 2014, 200. At this moment, as we speak, we have 500 e-commerce sites that operate in Bangladesh. These are local Bangladeshi e-commerce websites. The amount transacted through them in crore takas, again, 2013, approximately 50 crore takas. 2014, that jumped to 300 crores. 2015, we're looking at about 600 crore takas transacted through these e-commerce sites. Mobile financial services in Bangladesh, which these are the people that resell mobile services and provide mobile top-up throughout the country. They have basically the number of retailers and a show of how they've grown. Again, I think the numbers are a little difficult to see here. They're all put together, but it looks like in 2011, 2010, less than 100,000. And you can see the exponential growth over half a million there right now in 2014. And this is so you can buy mobile SIMs, top up your, of course you can do top-ups online, but you can buy a mobile SIM and cell phone pretty much near every village in Bangladesh now, in every village. Number of customers, again, that's a little difficult to see. And total transaction volumes used to be under 10,000 crore taka per year, and now approximately 300,000 crore takas per year. Again, rapid growth and all of this, again, just the last 5-6 years, only because of Digital Bangladesh. South-South opportunities, taking services to the citizens' doorsteps. This has been the primary goal, again, as I mentioned in the first slide. Our goal was that no one would get left behind, that citizens should not have to come to the government for service. We will take government services to the citizens. And the goal is that 100% of all government services will be available online through mobile phones, whatever method is convenient to the citizen. They should be able to access government services wherever they are in the country, and because of the internet, wherever they are in the world. So we have a huge expatriate population. This enables our expatriates. We have 11 million expatriates throughout the world. They can access Bangladesh government services no matter where they are in the world, as long as they have an internet connection. The goal, we want to expand our Digital Bangladesh. We don't want to keep it limited to Bangladesh, but we want to share it with our neighbors. We want our region to benefit from this digital explosion. Some of the benefits that we are receiving now, of course, that the cost of these services in other countries is increasing, India, China, because of their success. Their costs, their labor rates are going up, which is good for their people, and it's also good for us because our labor rates are cheaper. So we're hoping to capture some of these markets. And the Philippines minister, our honorable minister, is present amongst us. I see her laughing at me because when I first met her, I told her, yes, we're competitors, so, but friendly competitors. Entry barriers in outsourcing are decreasing. Used to be the traditional model of you needed a highly skilled workforce to develop software because writing code was complicated. This has become much more simplified. Developing apps for mobile phones, for websites. There are many more easier tools now. And so this has enabled us to develop the skill set very quickly with very minimal training to do this. And of course, the existing success stories of IT companies that have achieved success in Bangladesh are now being heard around the world. And that brings us to the end of our presentation. Along with that, there was one last item I wanted to talk to you about, which is for foreign companies and that are looking at Bangladesh, that might be looking at Bangladesh, which is one of the big concerns of a lot of foreign companies, and especially in the IT sector. Is the traditional model in the IT sector is that your company, it's not just a revenue-based model, but that someday you can go IPO and thereby really increase your returns many-fold. And towards that end, some of the things our government has been doing is that we have been simplifying we're working on simplifying the IPO model. Our IPO policies currently are geared towards capital-intensive industries, but we are hoping to introduce or reformulate rules for software services and IT industries where there isn't much capital. So you can't really value it's much more difficult to value the assets of these companies. They don't have factories and machineries. So how do you value intellectual property? How do you value service? So we are working on that because our stock market has been on a steady growth trajectory along with our economy. So we hope to implement these policies within the next few years. Our governor is here, and I see him taking notes, and we've been in discussions with him to simplify some of these rules. So with that, I'd like to thank you all. I would like to thank all our distinguished guests for coming here from a long way. And all of you, thank you very much for your patience hearing.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Sajibas Joy, for your comprehensive presentation. It has covered most of the landscape of digitization in Bangladesh, and also he has given us a dream that where we want to move from here. Bangladesh, as he said, was once dubbed as a bottomless basket, a test case of development. Now it has become a role model for development for many countries, and they are really looking at Bangladesh with a lot of hopes. And this presentation, gives you a very, very wide spectrum of what is possible within such a short period of time if you have the right policies, you have the right kind of support and resources as well. We have our Honorable Finance Minister here. He will also let you know what kind of resources he's providing for this sector. But before I really go to the Finance Minister, let me invite our guest, Mr. Holin Zhao, Secretary General, International Telecommunication Union, for giving his peace of mind on this. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Governor. Excellency, Mr. Saif Wazir Joy, ICT Advisor to Prime Minister. Excellency, Mr. Zunaid Ahmed Palat, State Minister of ICT. Excellencies, Ministers from Maldives, Bhutan, and Nepal. I think we also see Lady Minister from Philippines and some other ministers in the audience. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. I'm very pleased to join you here at this Digital 2015. I landed this morning at 9:15. I rushed here just in time. That's a very good experience for me because I remember a couple of years ago when I had a similar situation in Kuala Lumpur of Malaysia. I landed at 7 o'clock. The meeting was supposed to start from 9 o'clock. And then between the airport and the convention center, it normally took 1 hour. So they had enough time for me to have some kind of a rest, to change my clothes, to shave myself, or to wear my tie, to come to the podium. Since I will have to go to India next day, actually the afternoon, and then after India I have to go to Bhutan. So I didn't have much time to stay in Kuala Lumpur, so I did not have a hotel even. So this short period of 2 hours between the airport and convention center, in the end, it took me 2 hours because we are in track of the traffic jams. And then the Prime Minister of Malaysia and the Minister already arrived at the conference and tried to start, then asked, where is Mr. Zhou? Then still looking for me. So finally, when I reached the convention center, just 10 minutes past 9, they did not allow me to go to the restroom. It took me directly to the podium to make my speech. And then after my speech, it's the Prime Minister's speech. I cannot leave. So you can see that this is a little bit uncomfortable for me. But today I worried. Also, this morning I was told that it's 25 minutes from airport to my hotel. But again, this traffic jam. Then I worried if I cannot have time, at least wear this tie. This tie is a very special tie given by our Honorable Minister at the Plenipotentiary Conference in Busan. And this is a good luck tie for my election, for his election, for the election of Bangladesh as a member of the council. So I wore this tie, and I took this tie with me, but I worried a little bit. But then I found that I have some time to wear tie. I found that these two experiences a little bit somehow reminded me of one observation, that because our traffic jams is a big trouble for cities. So when I was in Kuala Lumpur, I made a joke, because I did not have a tie, I did not have nothing, so allow me to say something freely. I said, it's expected to have this traffic jam between airport and the city center, because there's no highways at that moment. If we have information highways, broadband connections, people may not need to hurry up to their offices in the early morning, so that the traffic is much, much easier, so I can have a comfortable time to come to the podium to make some speeches. But I hope that will be the case in the future. And I think that here is the same thing. Of course, here you have dilemma. You have highways, then you have more cars, then you have jump again, you build another highway. But if we have highway, information highway, broadband connections, and more people try to join this broadband connection with the benefit of this highway, then you build another highway. Then I think that that will give us a very good development of our national economy. Ladies and gentlemen, I have a speech here. But after I listened to our Honorable Minister's introduction, and also particularly our ICT advisor to Prime Minister, Mr. Joy's presentation, I have a lot of reflections. I suggest I will not read this text, and instead just to talk, because I just discussed with Excellency ICT advisor, Ms. Joy, that yesterday I was in Dubai. I attended the also big conference there. This is so-called the Government Summit, where Mr. Ban Ki-moon, Secretary General of UN, was there, and Professor Schwab, the World Economic Forum chairman, was there. And the meeting room is much bigger than this one. But there is no light. You can see anybody from podium in the audience. So you just read your text, it's okay. But this morning I see that this is a very, very friendly family environment. I think that if I made something wrong, I think you would tolerate me. So maybe better I don't read this text. And I found that this also today's environment and yesterday's environment makes a big difference. Because yesterday in Dubai, at this summit, so all privileged delegates. It's much bigger. It's more than I think the 2,000 people in the big room. But it's somehow a little bit senior generation. But this morning when I came to this place, I found 4 youth, 4 young people. Everybody is eager to learn something. Everybody is eager to try to talk to the other, to get some new ideas. So I see some difference here. So I'm very, very inspired by this young spirit. We just heard from Ms. Joy that this nation is very young. Among 160 plus people, not a plus, 160 million plus people. More than 65% of people younger than 25 years old. I think that is really something we can see the future, because they have a lot of new ideas, and they have very high spirit to try to do something through ICT to help the country. I see this one here. So I'm very, very grateful to have this opportunity to come here, thanks to the kind invitation from Honorable Minister Parad. And I just learned that this is my first visit to Bangladesh under my new title as Secretary General of ITU. I'm not the only one. Excellency, Minister of Bhutan told me that this is also his first visit to Bangladesh in his title as a minister. Of course, if not as a minister, or if not as a Secretary General, I came here already once before, in 2012 in May. So I was very impressed by then the development. I was particularly impressed by some program like InfoLady. That was my favorite program. I found that you have a sustainable program to help poor people and to provide ICT benefit to the village in the remote areas. And this morning I learned that this program is still there. And a couple of years ago it was sponsored by US. Now it's self-sustainable. So that is great achievement. Because anything, you only rely on the charity or donations, that will not be that good. But if you can manage to have your program sustainable, I think that is great. So I'm very, very pleased to hear this good news. And of course, all those achievements as just given to us by Ms. Joy should be commended. And ITU indeed award one program, Access Information Program of Bangladesh, as one of 17 World Awards last year. And in this access area, that is only one. So we really congratulate you for your achievement. Of course, you know that you are actively lobbied through ITU families for your successful re-election of council should be also commended. I think thanks to a very energetic minister, and he pushed me also very hard. He asked me, that can you wear this one to here? As soon as I got that tie, I wear all the time. That particularly during the election of the council, that I said you will have good luck. That indeed we celebrate the elections after that conflict. But I did not see my photo in your team celebrations when I was joining you at that moment. And you have a team, because it's among yourselves, to celebrate that. Yeah. Yeah, thank you very much. So now, this is my first visit to Bangladesh, but this is also my first visit to Asia country, my own region. I took my office from 1st of January this year, and I was terribly busy during the month of January. And then, even this week, exactly 3 invitations come to me. Here, Bangladesh has an invitation. Yesterday, also from 9 to 11, it's UAE's invitation for this governor summit. And also I got the invitation from Latin America to join their conference, again, 9 to 11. So I was terribly embarrassed. I cannot really make it. But thanks to the minister, our minister, he insisted that it will be good for you to come back to see Bangladesh. So I really appreciate that and give me opportunity to see what happened over the last few years. And our ICT advisor was very, very modest. And after his presentation, he came to ask me if his presentation is too long. Maybe it's too long for you. You know all this kind of development. But absolutely it's not too long for me, because it's my only time to get this kind of briefings from Bangladesh. And I appreciate very much the opportunity to get this information. And I really want to to congratulate you for all your achievement. And I noted also from our ICT advisor to thank our Minister of Finance. So that absolutely, without financial support, that we cannot make such wonderful progress. But if I may, I would like to add one thing after ICT advisor to request to extend that conditions from current to another 5 years or even longer. So that is good. But definitely I would like to add my voice there to support this request. But I would also like to request, if I may, the Minister of Finance to continue to pay attention to the future development, the future investment of infrastructure everywhere, particularly in Bangladesh.
Talked of digitization first, there was always a feeling that digitization would be creating a great divide. Fortunately, this has not been true. And it has not been true because from the beginning everyone has been conscious of the fact that we cannot allow a digital divide to come up. Because digital divide also would be an impediment. Where is Jabbar? Yes, he's here. He has asked a question that how do you move into a knowledge economy? Well, I'm not going to answer that. I'm giving it to the governor. He will do that. But I'll give some hints. You see, when you are talking of knowledge economy, the most important thing is how to give knowledge to everybody. And we have started this process in the digital development, because in digital development we have very largely eliminated the divide, very largely, not fully, but very largely eliminated the divide. And the only solution to elimination of this divide lies with the government. It has to be done by the government. And government is there for all the people of the country. And it's not a big responsibility. When you when you reach a level when poverty becomes more or less obsolete, you have the responsibility to sort of take care of something between 7 and 14% population, which you take care in terms of your social protection. And that is inevitable everywhere. In Bangladesh, for example, by 2018, we are not having any poverty. In 2018, the poverty level will be 12% of the population. And when it is 12%, it is the responsibility of the state to take care of that problem. So we have to take care of that problem at the state level of just eliminating the total digital divide. And since we believe that we have to eliminate poverty for all, we have already accepted that we should not divide the divide at all. It will be removed for all. Perhaps for the 12%, the responsibility will be taken by the government. Social protection program will take care of that part. The rest of it is by the economy and the developments in the economy and the style of development in the economy. The style of development in the economy is very important to see. How do you develop the economy? Most important element in my view, and that's what we have been following for the last 6 years with great success, is domestic demand. That must be always expanded. As you go on expanding domestic demand, you eliminate differences, because in order to expand domestic demand, you have to have more people into it. So your domestic demand must cover I mean, I give this example of Bangladesh, that when I was Minister of Finance and Planning about 35 years ago, the divide was something like this. The market in Bangladesh at that time was for only 1 crore people, 1 point maybe 14 lakhs people. No, 14 million, so it is 1.4 crore people out of the population at that time of about 8 crores, 80 million. Today, this market is for 40 to 45% of the population. You see, this has happened by expanding the domestic demand. As you go on expanding the domestic demand, you bring more people making this demand. You will automatically eliminate poverty and reduce it to a level where it becomes non-existent at a certain point of time. So, for avoiding a situation where some people will be left out, we have to come to domestic demand. Yes, export is very important for Bangladesh. Export is important for many other countries. But your basic plans have to be on domestic demand. The export is the extra that will give you the grease, the margin to sort of do so many things which you can't do simply with the money that you have. Now, well, I think I'm talking quite sort of, I should say, in a, I should say not very systematized because you see, as I said, that I first thought that I do not fit into this crowd. And then I thought that my only reason for being in the crowd is I happen to be the finance minister of the country. And then I thought the second reason is that I had developed some interest in ICT without knowing what it is. Quite early, almost 15 years ago, very early in the game. So I thought that yes, I should stay here and talk a little bit. And that's why the talk is that way, unsystematic. Now, what are we looking forward to in the ICT sector? I think Joy has really sort of talked about it in great details. I would pick up only two or three points. Number one, we have to increase the number of ICT trained people. It's about 56% now, or 46% ICT trained people, 56%. We have to increase that number because ICT is becoming a way of life. And so it's not 70% that we want to cover, 80%. It has to be an attempt to cover 100%. The last 12% would of course be under social protection. So that has to be our target, that we have to train people in ICT to the extent of roughly 80%, 84% or something like that. This is number one that we should do. In order to do that, what we have begun already, there is a little answer for most of it, but we have started ICT in primary stages now. We are providing the laptops, etc., to the students of primary school. Because if you want to create a knowledge-based economy, you have to start with these 6-year, 7-year-old kids. And they are the future who would be really the heroes of the knowledge economy, the sort of real actors of the knowledge economy. So that's the second area where we are moving. Then, the other area where we are working, we are not so successful yet, I must admit. And that is e-governance. We are quite backward in e-governance, although, you know, the backwardness is not uniform. For example, this is very good. Bangladesh Bank is pretty good in e-governance. Bangladesh, when it took over, was zero in e-governance. In 2009, Bangladesh Bank did not use any ICT at all, almost nothing. You see, so if you make your determination, if you fix your goals, you can move forward. I think among the government organizations, this is the most digitized institution, the Bangladesh Bank. There are certain ministries which are also doing really well, but it's not uniform. And that is why, even if there is a ministry which is excellent, it cannot perform to its full capacity, because it has to work with other ministries. So, I thought that we should begin e-communication in the government, because I found a few ministries which were very well prepared for it, but then I found that no, it can't be done, because a lot of ministries wouldn't understand it at all. And when you get into e-communication, it has to be for the whole group. You can't isolate some parties from there. So we have still a long way to go in introducing ICT in the government. E-governance is the most critical area. E-commerce is much better. E-commerce is moving quite well. Also, it is the same. E-commerce is moving much better. Now I go to the point, ICT tax concessions. He raised it to me. I mentioned it to him. Well, this was the first budget, 14-15 was the first budget of the government in the new town. And there were various kinds of uncertainties. And that's why, since it was already up to 2015, nothing more was stated. So we should see what we can do when it comes to budget policies, which are not very distant. I think I should start thinking about the budget next month. By the time it is June, you will know what is getting. ICT is an area which has been promoted by this government. It will continue to be an area which will receive that kind of attention. And one reason for getting that attention is their performance. They perform much better than what we expected. They perform much beyond our targets. So, this is just a problem. It's a budget matter, therefore don't expect an announcement right now. Wait till June, you will get the announcement. I think I can conclude my statement at this moment, and I must say this ICT Mela fair something the other day. This is the first time I've come today to this gathering, and it has been extremely pleasant, also highly educated. So I should thank the organizers of the Ministry of ICT, the basis, and of course these young people who are all here, who has made it lively and attractive. Thank all of you.
Thank you, sir.